morning, happy Monday, and welcome back to my channel. I just finished up with my online class and I'm heading over to the Weave workshop where honestly I'm probably gonna be like literally living in for the next like 2 weeks until this project's over. Right now it's the start of week 11 and everything is officially due the first day of week 13. So I have like 2 weeks to get everything together. So as you can imagine, it's gonna be an absolute mad dash. And that pretty much like officially starts today. So yeah, let's weave. Last week, you saw me play around with some warp painting experiments, and although I wasn't totally in love with most of these samples, I learned so much while making them and was really excited to plan my next ones. I wanted to spend the morning doing some sampling, so to try out a different woven structure, I first had to design my new peg plan. This meant climbing up a ladder to get to the top of my loom, removing the dobby mechanism, and then hammering in new pegs. Then I reattached my lag chains and stuck all of it back on top of the loom. Then I checked that everything was working properly. And then I started weaving. After doing a bit of sampling, I found some Weft colors that I was mostly happy with, and I liked how the weave structure was turning out. So next, I needed to come up with how I was going to paint the white sections of my warp. I had done some experiments with splatter painting that you might have seen in my previous vlogs, and I thought that it might be fun to try that technique out on the warp, just to see what would happen. So I covered my loom in some towels to protect it, and then I used plastic wrap to cover all of my non-white warp yarns, just so I could freely splatter paint around and not have to worry about messing anything up. Then, using my stock acid dye solutions that I'd prepared a few weeks ago, as well as some toothbrushes that I got at the 1 pound store, I just started splattering dye all over the place. Once everything was all dry, I started weaving with a kind of bluish, purplish Weft yarn and my block weave structure. Samples turned out kind of interesting. From a distance, they read as pretty plain, but up close, there's a lot of really subtle color changing and interest from all the multicolored splatters, and I really like that. Are they the most groundbreaking samples ever? No. But sometimes a collection needs some more simple coordinates, and I think that these would fill that role perfectly. Again, I just finished up with my day in the weave shed, and overall I think it went all right. I was definitely struggling at first because I wasn't really feeling my samples, but like once I got into the groove of it, I kind of just like made myself finish what I started. I actually kind of ended up liking them. Anyway, I'm just heading back to my dorm now. I'm gonna go to bed, take it easy, and get ready for another day tomorrow of just more work. So I'll see you then. Good morning, happy Tuesday. I have a huge list of things to do today,
and I don't know how much of it is actually going to be like exciting to show you, but I'll try my best. So the first thing I have to do is to head to the print room and prepare my samples for steaming. This pretty much just means like pitting them to a piece of fabric so that the professor can put them in the giant steamer that I think I showed you a couple weeks ago. And this is just to like set all the dyes that I put on my yarns. So gotta steam my fabrics. Then I'm pretty much gonna spend the rest of my day just in the computer lab working on all kinds of stuff. I realized that I actually haven't shown you a lot of the stuff I've been doing on the computer because I'm in like a Jacquard class where it's like a really small group and we work one-on-one with the teacher a lot, so it's been really awkward to film it. So today when I'm alone in the lab, I'll try my best to like update you on that project and how it's been going. I'm feeling warm, I'm feeling cozy, I have my hot tea, my comfy sweater, and I'm ready for a day of just getting stuff done. So let's do it.
After getting my fabric ready for the steamer, I headed over to the computer lab to work on my Jacquard project. Here's my mood board for my whole collection, which is my pastel fairy tale interpretation of Scotland and its architecture. So for my first design, I took inspiration from the local viaducts and I simplified their shape to create a graphic stripe with some gradient shifts. Then I flattened the color so it only comprised of 6 total colors. And then I transferred this artwork to our Jacquard program where I could replace each of the 6 colors with a different weave structure. And then I played around with colorways until I was happy with my design. I also worked on my second design, which is inspired by these kind of cross clover-shaped designs that I saw all over Edinburgh. This is a super quick summary of the Jacquard design process, just so I don't bore you with a ton of technical details and computer work. But if you'd like to learn more about Jacquard, I actually have a whole other YouTube video about the topic that I'll link to in this video's description if you want to check it out. While I was in the lab, I also played around with some structures that I could print out and bring to the weave workshop to try to actually weave. I started out with this attempt at making a chunky, undulating twill, but I ended up really not liking how it turned out and I ditched that idea. Then I just started playing and I tried a few rows of just a regular chunky twill with that splatter painted yarn from earlier, and I actually ended up really liking the look of that. So I turned the space under my loom into a little yarn dyeing studio and I just started splattering dye all over a skein of the same white yarn that I used in my warp.
Good morning, happy Wednesday. So last night I pretty much got back to my dorm around like 9:30 at night and I was so tired that I just completely forgot to record like an outro for the day and went straight to sleep, so sorry about that. I'm up bright and early again. Today's gonna be another long day in the weaving shed and hopefully we're gonna get a lot of beautiful things done today. So the first thing on my to-do list is to weave that like chunky twill that I sampled yesterday using the yarn that I speckle dyed like super late at night. So I'm gonna first wind that into a ball, wind it onto bobbins, and then just like get weaving, which should be pretty easy because it's just like the same pattern for the whole fabric. I can just like get into a groove, throw the shuttle, and yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. So let's do it.
Actually ended up really liking these samples. They're pretty simple, like nothing super crazy is going on in terms of structure or color, but I do really like fabrics with really subtle color shifts like this, and I think they could be really fun coordinates. And once they were done, I cut them off the loom and I took them downstairs to steam. then took a quick coffee break at the campus cafe, and I was super excited to finally redeem my free cup of coffee. And then it was back to hammering. And of course, I spent so long hammering in my new pattern just to realize that I'd hammered the pegs onto the wrong side of the lags, which was awesome. So I had to start the whole process all over again.
Hello again, it's about 6 o'clock and I'm just leaving the weave workshop. The morning went really well today. I got a series of samples done that I'm actually really happy with. But this afternoon just wasn't really going my way. I just was having loom troubles constantly, and then I started screwing stuff up, and then it was me screwing up and loom troubles, so I decided to just call it for the day. It just wasn't meant to be. I'm now just heading back to my dorm, and I think I'm gonna start preparing my samples for presentation, which is a very chill, meditative activity, and I need that right now. So yeah, let's go work on that.
My friend Tammy very, very kindly gave me her iron since she was done using it, and I'm pretty much just gonna spend the rest of the evening using this iron to apply heat and bond to the cut edges of all of my samples. So these are all one giant sheet right now, and I just have to separate out the different thoughts and ideas and concepts, and then apply this to all the cut edges just so they don't fall apart when they're handled. Let's do it. Okay, it's been about 3 hours, which is insane, but all my pieces are nice and separated. I have 3 little piles going here. This one is my favorite. It's the ones that I know are gonna make it into the collection and that I'm the most happy with. These are kind of the runner-ups, the ones that were maybe next to one of my favorites, so I ended up with a sample's worth of it and may or may not end up in the collection. And then these are just all the extra bits of testing and sampling and trying things and experimenting, and our teachers want to see all of that, so I have it in a nice little pile right there. And with that, it's about 9:30 and I'm gonna go to sleep, so I'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, happy Thursday. Today is gonna be a bit of a stressful day. The first thing I have today is a kind of giant class meeting lecture thing that's all about how we're gonna be presenting our finished materials at the end of this semester, and I'm really crossing my fingers and hoping there are no major surprises because they are giving us this lecture a week before everything's due. So hoping that goes well. After that, I have a quiz on double cloth where I have to draft a double cloth motif. And then I've got to weave. So today's gonna be a lot. I have a lot I need to do, and I'm really hoping I can get through it in one piece. The day is already not starting off super promising because when I was getting dressed this morning, I put on my shoes before I put on my pants. So let's hope that trend doesn't continue. We got this. I believe in myself. I can do it. Let's go.
After conquering all of my more serious tasks for the day, I headed back up to the weave workshop and I turned my loom into a little dye studio again. This time I had the idea to make something kind of plaid-ish, which involved painting vertical stripes on my warp, and then weaving with my weft in the exact same pattern.
I just wrapped up my long day of weaving and I'm actually really happy with how my sample turned out, which feels really good. I'm now hanging out in this little student center called The Thread that's here on campus, and my friend and I are gonna order some pizza and just like relax, which is very, very much needed. I actually totally forgot to wish you a happy Thanksgiving because today is Thanksgiving. As you've seen today, I didn't really have any like super special plans for this evening in particular, but I do actually have plans for tomorrow evening and also the next day that I'm really, really excited about. So I'll see you tomorrow for some more schoolwork and then some adventuring.
No pressure.
You just add them to
Yay!
Oh no!
Yeah.
Good morning, happy Friday. I'm heading over to the weaving room as usual, and today we're gonna try to do at least one other sample before I leave for my little adventure today. Today, I think I'm gonna try to add another plaid to my collection, kind of like I did yesterday, so I'm gonna paint the warp and add kind of like a matching weft, and I think I'm gonna try to make one that's like a little bit darker, maybe like deep blues, deep purples, something like that, just because this one is so like light and high contrast. I think I need a darker plaid, so let's do that.
After resetting my loom for my next set of samples, I decided that I wanted to quickly run down to the dye lab and mix up a new dye color that's a darker, more purple version of my blue dye. And then I just went for it and started painting. After my morning of painting, my friend Bronwyn and I went on a little adventure to the nearby town of Melrose, where a local knitwear company was having a huge sample sale. This brand is called Aribe, and they specialize in really joyful and really intricate Fair Isle knitting, and I just adore their style, so I knew I wanted to snag a few pieces. I got this solid yellow one, this very springtime cardigan, and this vest. And I've been wearing these pieces like crazy ever since. After our shopping adventure, I hopped on a train to Edinburgh to go to my friend Elena's house where she was hosting a Thanksgiving party.
morning, happy Saturday. As kind of like a gift to myself for the weekend, I got a hotel for overnight here in Edinburgh, just so I wouldn't have to like figure out how to get back to my dorm after the party, because it is quite a trek and I knew that that was going to end pretty late, so I wanted to just like avoid that stress, stay overnight. And now today I have a day of just like hanging out and exploring, which I'm really excited about.
I had a couple of goals for the day. Firstly, I wanted to visit a fabric store just to see if there were any interesting souvenirs to bring home with me. I found this set of Harris tweed Christmas buttons, which are just perfect for my next Christmas sweater project. My next goal was to visit the Edinburgh Christmas market.
I know that all of this is going to be so pretty at night, which unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to see today, but I will be back to come see the lights. I do feel like that's a more December thing anyway. It's still November, so I have time. The sounds are so funny because it's like there's a bagpipe player, there's like really aggressive Christmas music, and I'm just standing in the middle of it.
Another goal of mine was to finally visit the National Gallery of Scotland, which is an art museum with a huge variety of works, but mostly focusing on the artworks of Scotland. There were gorgeous paintings, embroideries, tapestries, and sculptures, and I had such a beautiful time walking around and taking in all the inspiration. For lunch, I treated myself to a Christmas pie, which was honestly one of my favorite things I ate the entire time I was in Scotland, and I literally still dream about it to this day.
Hello again, it's about 2 o'clock and I'm back at the train station ready to head home. I thought I might spend like a little more time in the area, but it's been getting so crowded and so crazy, and I'm really tired. I'm kind of just like wanting a nap, so I think I'm calling it here. It's been a beautiful day though. It was like exactly what I wanted, so I'm really happy. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up my week. Thank you so much for joining me on this week of Heriot-Watt University study abroad craziness weaving extravaganza. Next week, there's definitely gonna be a lot more weaving and a lot more craziness. So if you wanna stick around and see how the rest of the semester turns out, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye.